welcome to the Prophecy Club. And the first thing that I want to say today is that our hearts and our prayers go out with everyone in South Texas and now also Louisiana that is going through the devastating floods from Hurricane Harvey. I already talked about what it could be in yesterday's program, also prophetically, so I'm going to move on into talking more about how I think the internal revolution has started. I've got some more confirming evidence on that, which I'll cover quickly. And then we're going to do something I've been getting requests for now for quite some time. And I'm actually going to teach through Revelation, at least chapter 13, which is talking about America. I think you'll find it interesting, and I think it will be much more in-depth than any other teaching I've ever done. And, of course, I also should mention that I'm going to be speaking October 14 and 15. That's Saturday evening at 7 p.m., October 14, then Sunday morning beginning at 9 a.m. at Spirit of Prophecy Church Prophecy Club on the corner of Park and K in Plano, Texas. And this is going to be doing the recording and making of the new DVD, Revelations on Revelation. So be sure and attend if you can. If you cannot attend, then you want to go to prophecyclub.com and jump in on the pre-order offer we have for the DVD. And I think out of the 30, this will be the 34th DVD that I have made. In my opinion, this will by far be the best DVD I've ever made. And I think it's very important that people know the depth things, the deep things, the secret things, the revelations that God has shown me about Revelation, as I believe Revelation 18 specifically is talking about America, and that's one of the things we're about to talk about. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about this flood, Hurricane Harvey. Again, our hearts and our prayers are with all of the people that are so devastated throughout South Texas because of Hurricane Harvey. It's so terrible to watch the people suffer down there. And I also cannot escape saying my heart, and I'm sure your heart also asks one big question. If these people are having this kind of devastation from, please hear, I don't mean this to discount what they're going through in any way. It is devastating. But compared to a nuclear bomb going off in the area, this is a cakewalk. And then ask yourself if thousands, not hundreds, but thousands of nuclear bombs were released at will over a 3-day period all across America, what America is going to be like about 2 or 3 days after Russia has finished dropping their bombs all across America. It's going to be devastating, devastating. And this is it's a mere sample. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to say we have to, look, the only way we can really deal with it, the only way we can really survive this is to try to see things through God's point of view. And it's hard for us in the flesh seeing the people hurting so bad, our friends, our neighbors, our relatives. I live right here in Texas. It hurts. It pains me greatly to see so many people going through so much difficulty. However, if we look through the eyes of God, we look down and we see people that are getting out of their atheism. You're going to see a lot of people turn to God as a result of this. A lot of people that haven't been associated or connected with the church in years is going to get reconnected, and there's going to be a lot of people saved, and there's going to be a lot of crowns handed out as a result of this. While we would never have ever authorized a worldwide flood, God in his infinite wisdom judged that that was the right thing and the best thing and the right timing to do it. Now, we look at what is going on in South Texas, and our heart breaks for those people. But if we try to look at it through God's point of view, we have to understand that this world is going away. I saw a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Okay, so this whole world we live in now is all going bye-bye. There's going to come a time, the Bible says, that we will not remember, nor anything in this lifetime will come to mind. I know it's understandably hard to understand, but understand God is building his kingdom. All right, now, that's what we're going to say about Harvey today. Now let's move on to the next bigger thing, and that is the internal revolution. I've only got one article, but it's got some really powerful information, really confirming information. We're going to talk about that, then we're going to go to Revelation 18. First of all, as you all know, and you probably have memorized by now, but I'll say it again, there might be one person that hasn't heard it. The fall of America will start with an internal revolution. This is what the angel Gabriel told to Dmitri Duduman in 1984. The fall of America will start with an internal revolution. Started by the communists. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, and two other countries will attack and defeat America. Now, I heard that for the first time in February of 1987. However, in that, Heather Heyer was killed by this guy, allegedly James Alex Fields, running her over with a car. That represents first blood has now been spilled, and this may, I'm unwilling to say for certain that this is the start of the internal revolution. It's actually probably, when we get to see this whole thing play again, probably we're going to look back and we're going to say, well, it probably began with Trayvon Martin or Ferguson or Baltimore or one of those events. But in that we have blood shed in Charlottesville, Virginia, that's pretty difficult to say the internal revolution now has not started. So let me reword this, and I'm not trying to change the words of the prophet here, nor the words of God, but I'm trying to say if God had given us more information, the information he might have given might sound like this. The fall of America will start with an internal revolution in Charlottesville, Virginia. Started by the communist media such as CNN, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, and others. Some of the alt-left, Antifa, seeking to remove Confederate statues, will start fighting against the government of Donald Trump. President Trump will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, and could go on like that. Now, to that degree, I want to show you that we have confirmation on how the communists are actually starting this trouble. This comes to us from dailycaller.com. Title is Antifa has a new cell in Philly, and they're calling for property seizures and violence on police in an all-out revolution. Article: an armed Antifa group is launching a new cell in Philadelphia with the support from the alt-left alternative media. The group currently hosts anti-police workshops for, quote, our enemies in blue, unquote. The group draws inspiration from convicted murderers and calls for violence against the police, theft of goods, and armed insurrection. Now, one more article. Headline, Secrets Out, Why Cops Are Standing Down in Berkeley and Beyond. This comes from WorldNet Daily. A large group of Antifa activists descended upon a small number of people the group surmised were supporters of President Trump Sunday and assaulted them viciously while Berkeley, California police stood by. Police expert Heather McDonald told WND and Radio America the passivity of the cops is a result of withering demonization from politicians and the media. The Washington Post headline described the violence as an Antifa attack against, quote, peaceful right-wing protesters. This is not the first time Berkeley police have let the violence play out. Earlier this year, extensive property damage ensued from riots connected with a scheduled University of California speech by Milo Yiannopoulos. The first day of the anti-police Black Lives Matter riot, the police actually used conventional riot tactics and skirmish lines of not allowing protesters to get dangerously close to each other. The left-wing Berkeley council and mayor the next day blamed the police for the violence rather than the people who were using Molotov cocktails and attacking businesses and police officers and other people. The Berkeley police learned their lesson, in effect, and basically said, okay, our policy is going to be to allow certainly the destruction of property, and if there's collateral damage to people, so be it. We're not going to risk, again, the claim that we are an occupying fascist force. So The police are worried about an unlawful act of force being captured on video and the inevitable press reaction that it was the police's fault, that they have simply moved into a hunkered-down position given our current levels of civil hatred in this country. Now, essentially what they're saying is the police are afraid to be police. They're afraid to fight against this left-wing groups. And, of course, then that means what happens? Well, let me go on. I think they say it. I hope they realize that they really owe it to the law-abiding people of this country to maintain order. Police use of force is never a pretty sight, but there are times when you are subduing a resisting suspect or trying to keep order in a public anarchy situation like we had again this weekend, where it is necessary. It's really, and this is the point that we really all need to get to here, it's really up to the public to decide how much policing it wants. If the public decides we would rather have a crime, we'd rather have anarchy, than have the use of police use their lawful authority, well, that's their decision to make. Now, let me jump and tie this to Bible prophecy, Revelation 18:2, talking about America. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So, the article says, if police continue to hold back, what will America see? Well, I'm going to answer that question, an internal revolution. The article goes on to say, I fear real civil violence, whether it's race war or left-right war, she said. Both sides at the extremes are becoming more and more emboldened. McDonald makes it clear that the most heinous act America has seen to date is the escalating violence is the murder of Heather Heyer in Charlottesville, Virginia, earlier this month. She said that carnage is squarely on the hands of the white supremacists. I'm going to say, or was it really on the Virginia governor and the Charlottesville mayor who organized, if we only knew that, if we only could prove that, who probably, I'll say it that way, probably organized the whole thing, then pushed the two sides face to face, brought the trouble on, then told the police to stand down. Okay, again, it's just like I hear in chicken fights, they throw one chicken up against another chicken to get them to fight. It's the same thing we're doing here in America. All right, now, how's this tied to Bible prophecy? Well, I'm not going to be immediately making a new DVD teaching through Revelation verse by verse. I probably will someplace in the near future, but the new DVD that I am going to be making is the revelations that I got when I memorized the book of Revelation. And I've got a lot of revelations, but in this upcoming DVD, it's only going to be the revelation. But right now, let's just go through Revelation 18, since a lot of this is being fulfilled right now. Revelation 18. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Sometimes in Scripture, we read past words. Maybe we read past them because we don't understand them. Maybe we read past them because we don't have the revelation on those words. I think we've all memorized a Scripture, didn't understand it until later when we got the revelation on it. So the revelation in that verse is the earth was lightened with his glory. That's the part that we typically miss. That's the part that we better get. So this is an angel so big and so powerful that the whole earth was lightened with his glory. So this is a very big, very powerful angel. Now listen what the angel says. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, that's America, the Great, I think that was given to us by Donald Trump in this most recent candidacy running for President of the United States, when he said and wrote on caps and things, make America great again. I think Donald Trump hung those words, quote, the great, unquote, on America. So when it says Babylon, and I can go into that in a lot of detail, but I'm not. But the point is, Babylon is another word for America. The great is, those two words are what Trump calls this nation. Then it says, is fallen, is fallen. Why does the Bible say is fallen, is fallen? Did you know that is fallen, that Babylon is fallen, when it says that twice, is actually found 3 places in the Bible? Why does it say is fallen, 3 places? Why? Why say it twice? I think it's because there are 2 destructions coming upon America. Now, out of the entire 22 chapters of Revelation, the most difficult chapter for me to memorize was Revelation 18. As a matter of fact, I am still trying to work out a couple of details to make certain I've got every word of it in correct order. It is very difficult. Why is it difficult? It's difficult because it has repeating verses in it. Now, what am I saying? When it says is fallen, I think it has the repeating verses in it because there's 2 judgments. The first judgment is the one Dimitri Duduman was told about. This judgment comes upon America because of the sins in the church. This is when Russia attacks that starts World War III or near the start of World War III. The second is fallen, and this is clearly described in other scriptures. This is when Jesus returns, and this is Jesus destroying her, and this is because she has shed the blood of prophets and of saints and are all slain upon the earth. It's because America turns into a Christian killing machine. I'm telling you, it's coming. And I'm telling you, it's probably coming at the conclusion of the Trump presidency. And that's another thing, too. We could take a while and talk about that, but I'll move along. So it's saying there's 2 falls. There's 2 destructions. Babylon the Great, this is saying America, the same one is let's make America great, is fallen, 2 destructions. And has become the habitation of devils. That means where devils live. That means that by the time God actually destroys this nation, we will have many people possessed with devils. Well, do we have a lot of people possessed with devils today? Well, I understand the typical Christian that goes to the typical church out there might say, well, no, I think most of the people we're around is pretty good. Well, yeah, it's around the typical Christian, the one that those hang out with. But if you get around drug addicts or get around criminals, you will find out that a large portion, matter of fact, God says here, apparently, a larger portion, over 51% of the population, is a habit. That's the reason he says it. A habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. You want to see the devil's foul spirit and the unclean and hateful birds? Watch the protesters. Watch and see the anger, the filth, and their signs. They even say on TV that they can't show the signs because there's so many curse words and profanity written on their signs. Now, try to imagine, of all of the people that are on drugs and all of the criminals, our prisons are full. Okay, need I say more? I don't think so. Let's go on. Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Now, what does that mean, wine of the wrath of her fornication? Let me read another verse. Now, that was Revelation 18. Now, let's jump over to Revelation 14. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. Again, there's another part. Okay, there's not the same verses I was reading earlier. Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. All right, let's understand that by first understanding what is fornication. Well, in our society today, we think that fornication is having sex outside of marriage. But that's not what God is saying. He's saying that this country that he's talking about here in the scriptures, this is a nation that was once married or supposed to be his bride and was once with him. So the only way you can deduct this is a nation that is a Christian nation, or it was at least founded to be a Christian nation, but has gone away from God. Does that sound like America? See, even the Supreme Court, now, it was a long time ago, but the Supreme Court, I don't know if you knew this or not, but they actually declared that America is a Christian nation. So many of our forefathers and founders of this nation were Christians, and it was according to the Mayflower Compact, signed November the 11th of 1620, they were forming a new nation for the furtherance of the Christian faith, unquote. So when he says fornication, this is a Christian nation that has gone away from God, and it's speaking of America. But what does it mean, the wine of the wrath of her fornication? It means this is the nation that has got the other nations to fall away from Jesus. The nation that took the Bible to the world was America. The nation that at one time took Jesus to the world through radio and TV and printed matter and printing Bibles, now is the nation that is getting the other nations to fall away. Listen to what it says, Revelation 14:8. It says, because, in other words, she falls because she made all nations drink. She made all nations. Now, how is it that America is corrupting the other nations of the world? Is it because we sell all of the illicit drugs? No. It is because this is the nation that started TV, that started the movies, and has propagated that TV and those movies all around the world. Did you know that the San Fernando Valley is known as the porn capital of the world? There you go. I gave you a little bit from my talk, Revelations on Revelation, which, by the way, if you haven't got that DVD, be sure and get that DVD ordered. I'm going to be making it October 14 and 15. But it's because America causes the other people, the other nations of the world, to watch our television, which corrupts them, to watch our movies, which corrupts them, to buy our filthy, girly magazines, our filthy novels. I mean, everything coming out of America is just filth, filth, filth. Again, become a habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So if you think about it, is it any wonder that, maybe I should say it this way, should we even wonder when we see devastating things happen to our nation? And understand all of the devastations happening with this flood in South Texas, it's only just beginning. Yes, this is terrible, terrible, terrible beyond terrible. But compared to what is coming, it's not so bad. It's going to get a lot worse. So then in verse 3, when it says, all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, the way we would say it is because all of the nations have watched our movies, our television, and bought all of our filthy things in print, because we have corrupted all of the world. Then it goes on to give descriptions about this nation. The kings of the earth. By the way, who is it that has the greatest kings of the earth? Who is it that has the greatest merchants of the earth? Who is it that owns the McDonald's? Okay? Who is it that owns all of these great and powerful businesses around the world? I mean, you go to China, guess what you see? You see McDonald's. You go to Japan, what do you see? You see McDonald's. You see Pepsi. You see Coca-Cola. You see these American companies, and their influence has gone around the world. You see, everybody wants to be wealth. They want to have the wealth of America. So they do what the Americans do, and so consequently, they have followed us down a very dirty path to a dirty God, and they've fallen away from Christ. Even the ones that, probably Japan was better. I don't know this, but probably if somebody want to research it out in terms of their filth before God, they might have been filthy before America came into Japan than after America came. In other words, today. So just because we've just corrupted the whole world, you see. Now, let's go on. For the kings of the earth had committed fornication with her, means the kings of the earth have gone away from God because she led them away from God. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. What nation is the nation that leads the world in business and finances? It's said of America that if America sneezes, the rest of the world gets pneumonia. Yeah, right. Verse 4, and I heard another voice out of heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Why does the Bible say, my people? Because it's warning Christians. Matter of fact, if you're listening to this program right now, this is one of the voices that is trying to warn you to leave America. Now, right now, it's not necessarily saying pack your bags and move to another country. However, I think today that this voice, and probably some other ones, will be announcing. I think there will come a day when I get on radio and TV and say, Christians, leave America now. Pack your bags. Get out while you still can. And I'll come back to that in just a second. But it says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. So when it says, come out of her, my people, at this point, at this time, it's not saying, pack your bags and leave America. It's saying, stop sinning. Don't sin like all of the other people around you. That's what it's saying. Because if we walk in sin now, we're also going to walk in the plagues that God is going to send to this nation. All right, now, let's go back to that, come out of her, my people. Okay, so the obvious question is, when do we leave? On October the 12th of 2006, I had a dream. And I was looking down on a commercial jet. And I saw people getting in line, getting on the jet, going up the little stairway. And I heard a voice say, 2 people will get on a jet with a virus. Before the plane can land, everyone on board will be dead. This will be the beginning of the end of public air transportation. So as far as me and my family, we already discussed it. If we see a jet plane go down and everybody on board is dead before the plane can land, 48 hours, we are out of here. We will pack and just go to another nation and basically put everything up for sale, mail us a check when it sells. We're done. Now, where will we go to? We will probably go to Jerusalem. Why? Because when the abomination of desolation happens, when the Antichrist sits upon the Ark of the Covenant and says he's God, that's when we're supposed to be going south, I believe, to the real Mount Sinai, no later than. Now, if you've been listening to me, I'm going to be able to tell you the 7 signs to watch for. I believe we're going to spot the Antichrist and have left Jerusalem long before he sets on the Ark of the Covenant. Nevertheless, they will flee south, and that's when the devil will open up his mouth and cast waters of flood out of his mouth after the woman, that she might be carried away of the flood. Let the earth help the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Then the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. In other words, the people that stayed back in Jerusalem, he goes to war with them. Now, there's a whole lot more to this, but again, we've made through 4 verses of Revelation today. We'll pick it up there tomorrow. Again, yes, we do need your financial gifts. It is really tight. It is still tight. So if you can help us, now would be a good time to do so. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. I'm the next speaker at the Prophecy Club. I memorized the book of Revelation, and in the process, God gave me 12 awesome revelations. Jesus is not the primary message of Revelation. What is? My biggest revelation, what is the morning star? Who are the 2 witnesses? The final answer to the rapture question. Definitive proof that America is in Revelation. And what is America's future? 7 signs to spot the Antichrist early. When does the New Jerusalem arrive? Are there 1 or 2 judgments? The surprising final plague on earth. October 14th and 15th, Saturday evening, 7 p.m., Sunday morning, 9 a.m., at the Prophecy Club, 2540 K Avenue in Plano. That's October 14 and 15, Saturday evening, 7 p.m., Sunday morning, 9 a.m., Spirit of Prophecy Church, corner of Park and K in Plano. No charge. It's on Revelations on Revelation. See you there. Order your copy of the DVD at prophecyclub.com. The Extreme Summer Blowout is now in effect. You can get 50 DVDs for $250. That's $5 each. 25 for $160. That's $6.40 each. 15 for $120. That's $8 each. 10 for $100. Obviously $10 each. 6 for $70. 4 for $50, and 2 for $30. You can go to prophecyclub.com. There's a list of all the DVDs there, or you can call us and ask for the summer catalog, or download the catalog at prophecyclub.com. Flip through it, then decide which DVDs you want. That's 785-266-1112, and it expires soon. Call 785-266-1112 today. Some restrictions apply.